Hey, what's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Flight of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and it's that time again for me to check out your latest requests and recommendations for metal albums on Bandcamp. And there are so many right now, there's so many requests that I'm just doing an extra episode this week because I want to get caught up. I have stuff in here that I don't want you to have to wait a whole month to check out. And of course, if you're new here, if you like to be kept up to date with the best and brightest metal bands and albums from the underground and above, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. Alright, y'all, so many requests. Luckily, I can kind of call this like sort of a Halloween episode because there's a lot of spooky stuff going on in here. We're going to kick things off. Let me turn my brightness up so I can't see. With Asanath Blake, or Asanath Blake from Wales, UK, described this as witch metal and said she would curse me if I did not play it. So I think that's an appropriate start here. Sampled a little bit, kind of black metal-y kind of sound. I like it. That instrumentation reminds me a little bit of Botanist. It's got some like hammered dulcimer vibes. I like it. Sufficiently spooky. I like this album cover too. It's very kind of eerie and unsettling. Definitely got a nice aesthetic here. I'm starting to wonder if that is a hammered dulcimer. Is there any black metal, Halloween, post-black, Simane, witchcraft? Nothing here about hammered dulcimer. Yeah, Asanath Blake, you're going to have to let me know what instrument that is, because it doesn't sound like a guitar. Yeah, I like this. Very dark, ominous. Seems like there's a lot of other instrumentation going on here. Yeah, I'd be really interested to know more about what's going on with some of this background instrumentation. Especially that. Like, that really sounds like a really fast hammered dulcimer. But it could be something else. This is unique. This is interesting. Something I could potentially see myself doing a full review of, too. Definitely one of the standout bands that I've had on here, or projects, I should say, because I think this is just one person. Yeah, this is cool. This is one of the more kind of standout, unique black metal albums I've actually heard this year. Because there's just so much stuff out there that just sounds the same in this genre. So yeah, cool stuff. That's Asanath Blake with Voorish Songs is the name of the album. Black metal, witch metal, listen or she'll curse you. And you don't want to be cursed, right? So, just go ahead and do it. Alright, a single I've been wanting to share for a little while now. This is from Fact Pattern. It's a industrial project. The song's called Generating Keys. If you like Skinny Puppy like I do, instrumentation reminds me of that. But then we've also got some like Depeche Mode vibes here with the bass and the vocals. Just moody, spooky, gothy music vibes. Like this cover. Yeah, I like it. Like I've said, I've always had an affinity for industrial music, and I will share it any chance I get. Especially when I come across stuff that really kind of, tweaks the nips. It makes me happy inside. Takes me back to the days of first discovering like Too Dark Park and all that good stuff. I like this little kind of interlude there with the like warbly bass. But yeah, this is a LA based project. Got some other stuff you can check out here on their discography. And yeah, but I've just got the single today, so be sure to check out Fact Pattern if you, like me, also enjoy yourself some industrial music. Alright, another single. We've got a new one from Femur. The track is called The Shakes. This is a Thunder Bay, Ontario project I've covered in the past on the site with their album Red Marks, which I highly recommend. Just really noisy, dissonant, kind of hardcore, post-hardcore. They get in with the mathcore crowd too. A little bit of grindcore in there too. We've even got pisscore in the in the labels here. And that's just bleak album art here. Dang, dang, dang. I like that bass. Dang, 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 dang. If you're into stuff like Botch, early Converge even, a little bit of that in here. A little bit more dissonant than that though. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the direction these guys are going, and I'm interested to continue to follow them sort of down their rabbit hole, because they just have some of the like just darkest, ugliest music in the genre. Also good, like different sound but similar atmosphere to projects like Noise Trail Immersion. It's interesting how different bands will compare in certain areas. Like some of them are a little bit more on like the djenty side in their instrumentation, but then the atmosphere matches up with something else. Like atmospherically, I'd actually kind of group this in with like Ulcerate, even though the instrumentation is totally different. But in any case, yeah, that's Femur with The Shakes. Check them out. Alright, another one that I thought looked sufficiently spooky for the Halloween season. We've got Blood Magic Ritual from Volkihar. Vampiric black metal inspired by Second Wave. I believe this is their debut, their first album. Yep, debut album. Just released a couple days ago as of me recording this. And actually will be pretty close to me releasing this, since I'm just getting through the backlog at this point. Just good second wave traditional black metal with that kind of black, you hear that black magic vibe in the music. Got 10 tracks here. Name your price too. Always a fan of that, especially when it's your earlier material. I feel like most artists are getting that. I occasionally cover bands on here where like the digital's like $12 and I'm like, dude, you're not known enough to like pull that off. Like just your first step is get known. Like, I mean, I had to, even on this channel, I had to spend a good like year and a half just building an audience enough before I could even think about sort of monetizing anything. And that's frustrating, but it's sort of the way it is. Could be the difference between you spreading the word about your music and not. So my appreciation to bands like Volkihar for understanding that. That said, as a fan, don't be a freeloader and a jerk and just grab everything for free. Throw them at least $1 or $2. You got it. You got it. Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about this musically, because, I mean, what can I say that hasn't been said about second wave black metal a million times? They're doing it really well. I think from the production to the songwriting and instrumentation, they've kind of nailed the foundation here. So from here, like I always say, your goal should be to build out. Build outwards, build yourself a little bit more of a personality that helps you stand out. Like, what does Volkihar have to contribute to the genre at this point? Like, what makes you special? What makes you worth people listening to? And for some people that doesn't really matter. I mean, a lot of people who listen to this type of music, they're just more than happy to listen to more stuff that sounds exactly the same. But me personally, with the amount of music I listen to, just the sheer volume of it, I need something that stands out to justify adding more stuff to my rotation. But that is Volkihar with Blood Magic Ritual. Alright, then we've got Sindar with Splintered Light. This is a Salt Lake City progressive metal band. So neighbors to me out here in Oregon. We drove through the old Salt Lake. That was when we were moving here 5 or so years ago now. Rise of the Urukai. Ooh, have we got some Lord of the Rings? Oh, we do. I'm just realizing this. This is all Lord of the Rings conceptual stuff here from the track titles. I grew up on this stuff, like, before the movies, too. My dad loves Lord of the Rings and would read the books to us going to bed, like, since I was, God, I don't even know how old, like, really young. So, long before the movies hit the scene, we were those hipster Lord of the Rings fans. We read the books before it was cool. The Horse Lords, yep. But yeah, cool. Very just dynamic, progressive metal here. Seems like leaning a little bit more on the kind of softer side. Getting some like Opeth vibes here. It's definitely fitting to the theme of the land we're talking about now. I can't believe I'm blanking on the name of the village or whatever, the kingdom that the Horse Lords live in. But yeah, I definitely think of this kind of sound when I think of there. Got Durin's Bane. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm expecting this track to get a little bit heavier, given the darker themes of this particular concept. That's cool though. I'm trying to figure out what are we looking at in this? Which castle are we looking at with this one? And is that supposed to be Frodo, or are we looking at like Aragorn? Yeah, this is cool. Very dynamic, textured. Leaving Hobbiton. Trying to figure out is this in order, or are they kind of jumping around here? Got the Fellowship of the Ring. The birth of one of the most famous memes too. One does not simply make a progressive metal album without referencing Lord of the Rings, apparently. Yeah, this is lovely. Musically, very textured and interesting. And then you got me. You sent this to the right person, because I do love me. Those movies still hold up too. Those Hobbit movies freaking suck. Terrible. Awful. But, and the funny thing too is the special effects in Lord of the Rings hold up way better than the Hobbit movies, despite the Hobbit movies being much more recent. But I'm gonna stop nerding out here. This is Sindar, Splintered Light. Give them a listen. Alright, we've got L.M.I. with Excess Subconscious out of Pennsylvania. Another, thought, Halloween-appropriate looking cover. Very spooky. Looks like it has like a little bit of a mental health tinge to it too. These guys describe themselves as punk, stoner punk, hardcore, noise rock. Picking up on all that. Just noisy, dissonant. I hear like these voices like coming from the album cover. This cover gives me some like dissociative identity disorder kind of vibes to it too. It's like all these or schizophrenia too, if it's just like a bunch of voices in her head. Not necessarily her taking on different identities. I guess that would be implied by the album title, Excess Subconscious, too. I like the pounding drums, just very aggressive. A little bit of post-hardcore vibes in some of these guitars, too. Everything from, like, Fugazi to more kind of modern stuff. Yeah, definitely got that with the production too. Getting those 90s vibes. Some of the instrumentation too reminds me of like Quicksand, although the vocals are more sort of pure hardcore. Yeah, this would have been right at home on like Q101 back in Chicago in the 90s, alongside all the like grunge musicians and everything, and Rollins band. It impresses me sometimes when I come across these new albums that just totally capture the full essence of that sound, because it's not an easy thing to do. Like, you'd think that imitating a sound would be relatively easy, but not always. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. This has a very like Nirvana Bleach kind of riff to it. I like the death metal vocals though. Wasn't expecting that. I'm almost curious if there's like a full story, like kind of album concept going on here. So L.M.I will have to let me know. But yeah, good stuff. Very aggressive, very noisy. Definitely tugs at my inner youth and teenager years, listening to stuff like this all the time. But yeah, L.M.I, Excess Subconscious. Alright, and then keeping the mental health themes going, it seems we've got Insanity from Cult of Madness out of St. Petersburg, Russia. Melodic death metal and metalcore bands. More kind of raw production. Very kind of psychedelic album cover here. With all the colors. The colors, children. Colors. Heck yeah. Just straight up. Ooh, I like that riff. There we go. There's those melodic death vibes. Getting a little bit like Darkest Hour riff vibes from that too. Pretty good. And again, the rough production taking me back to the early 2000s. Listening to some of this stuff, late 90s. Doesn't sound like a band from today, which I appreciate. I really miss this sound in both metalcore and melodic death metal. In both of those genres today, like a lot of the albums just sound way too glossy and pristine. For some bands that works really well, like Make Them Suffer, it's like the perfect match, but other bands I need a little bit more of that grit. Like especially when I listen to like At the Gates or Soilwork or Darkest Hour or Dark Tranquility. Like I like to have a little bit more of that kind of Gothenburg era production. This definitely has some of that. Yeah, this is good stuff. I actually like it more than even I thought I was going to. And again, keeping the kind of spoopy vibes going for you this Halloween. Yeah, lots of great guitar on here. I feel like the vocals could use a little bit more oomph, a little bit more something, a little bit more variety. I do like the back and forth. The lows remind me a little bit of the Black Dahlia Murder. But yeah, overall, like I think they're onto something with this. You could see with a little bit more emphasis on like, again, how do we make ourselves stand out? There could be something here. This could be something that really turns people's heads. So I hope people are watching this and go out and check this out. It's another one that's name your own price. So again, you got nothing to lose. Like, help out the underdogs, and even more important than just buying it, share it. Like, put this up on social media everywhere, this episode, a link to their BANDCAMP of the ones that you enjoyed, because they need your help. They can't do it without you. So again, Cult of Madness with Insanity. Alright, y'all, that's plenty for today, and I think that got me through kind of my backlog of my queue. More episodes coming up. Check out the playlist. I'll always have that linked in the comments so you can check out other episodes of this, but let me know down in the comments which one was your favorite, as always, and especially if you ended up picking up any of these albums. But hey, stick around, because not only do I have more of these, but I've got full album reviews, tier lists, interviews with bands on the podcast, you name it, we got it. So plenty of reasons to subscribe, again, if you have not already. In the description, you'll find links to our social media where you can follow us, the email newsletter I send out every Friday personally, metaltrenches.com, for even more content and reviews, and our Patreon and Subscribe Star if you want to take that extra step to becoming a full-on supporter. Even just $1 a month gets you early access to content and helps me keep this train a-rolling. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.